Yeah, I do feel like we failed. I think we weren't working on our jealousy as much as we should, this group, and how can we make a better whole. I feel like we weren't including God enough. I mean, this is such a complicated, challenging way of life. You have to include God. There's a lot of things that I saw that I'm like, we're screwing up here.
Welcome to Polygamy Unveiled channel. In a world of we're gonna just put our heads in the sand and pretend like nothing happened and keep producing a show to make it. So we look normal and pretend like nothing happened and justify our bad behavior. That's for Kody and Robyn at least. And we're gonna pretend like we had no fault in anything. We're also gonna pretend like none of our other children exist. At least Kody's other children. We're also going to pretend like none of the other women exist. We're just going to focus on our family unit. And I understand that when people get divorced and when people move on, they still have their family unit that they have, right? I get it. But in this case, something happened in March of 2024. A very serious thing happened. One of their children passed away. Garrison Brown, once he passed away, there were a bunch of articles that came out about how the show is going to film the aftermath of his passing, and we assumed as fans first that it was outrageous that they would do this second. How were they going to do this? Garrison's last text messages were to production and other people that he worked with. His last message was basically just saying that he wanted to be able to hate people, but he couldn't because he missed the good days. And then he sent this photograph of a still from like back when they were doing a show for paintball for Caleb's bachelor party. And it felt like to us of your last text messages that you are looking back on the show and you're looking back on all these things that have happened in your life. And that show played such a part of your life that was devastating for you, right? And so a lot of us were just like, okay, how are they going to do this? This feels weird. And then we find out Kody didn't go to his house, right? He wasn't at the scene, right? Gabriel went to go get him. Comes back, Kody doesn't show up. Doesn't show up at his son's home. Doesn't show up. Kody doesn't seem to really care, or at least that's how it appears. Like, how do you not show up for your son? Right? And Logan Brown was the one that had to keep things together for his family. And a lot of the responsibility of a lot of this fell on Logan and on Janelle. We know it's a very sensitive subject, but we also know that in the world of polygamy and ex-polygamy, when someone passes away like this, it's often swept under the rug because of their beliefs about it, and also because there's shame about it, and in this case, they're public. And for the longest time, I've been trying to push this concept that despite everything in our lives, all of our kids are perfect, and we made really good kids, and there was no bad outcomes outside of just all of us not getting along. So when we assumed they were going to keep filming, we assumed it would be to highlight that they lost a child as much as we didn't like the idea. We at least thought, okay, well, if they talk about it, maybe they can like shine light on it or whatever. And we know that at least a couple episodes coming up could be touching on this, right? But the scene that they filmed for this episode was filmed in May of 2024. And we know this because photographs were circulating all over the internet of Kody and Robyn and the kids walking on the street in Flagstaff cameras following them. They looked like they were dressed up for Easter, and now we know that it was a dinner to celebrate the baptism of Aurora at her church. And during this dinner in May of 2024, there's no indication from anyone in the family that there's any sadness. There's no acknowledgement about any of the people that are missing. There's Kody's not thinking about anything about, he doesn't look sad. He looks smitten and happy. And he's talking about how in love he is with Robyn and and how doughy-eyed and how much the kids love him and how what a great family he has. And it's 2 months removed from his son's death. I know you have to compartmentalize life. I know you have to be able to go on and do your thing, but to like go on and not even acknowledge it, and then to want to sort of like rewrite history and be like, well, I screwed up over here, but don't look over there. Let's just focus here. And that's how I feel. Kody's entire storyline is like, I feel like Kody and Robyn really don't interact with anyone because they'd have to face the fact that they did stuff to people that were terrible and they hurt children and women. And so, if they can just focus on what they have, they don't have to look at the destruction they created, but to have to watch it for the show. It's so uncomfortable. I want to show you a couple scenes. This is supposed to be a dinner celebrating Aurora's baptism into this new church, and Kody somehow turns it into, or somehow probably be pretty exhausting to be in Kody's life and Robyn's life because somehow stuff for them, the kids gets turned into Kody and Robyn's relationship. And all they have to do is like talk about Kody and Robyn's relationship. And it maybe is this because they have no friends to talk about their relationship with anymore. I've noticed a lack of friends on this up season. I haven't seen Kody, with his friend Brian, or, Nathan showed up to help Mary move. But after that, I mean, where's Nathan? Where are Kody's actual friends to, commiserate with about the divorce? Oh, I guess he got together with his brothers earlier this season. But it seems like now they have to rely on having conversations where they're validated in their relationship through their kids. And a lot of it feels like it's being done intentionally, as like this smear campaign, or to respond to criticism. Okay, so there's a lot of criticism that Kody wasn't a good husband, that Robyn was manipulative, and the two of them just destroyed the whole world. And they caused all of these painful things to happen to the other women. Making them feel like they're not beautiful enough, making the kids feel like they're not adequate enough, like they don't matter. With the way that he disparaged the kids, that were the other wives' children, to see how differently he treats the kids that are with Robyn. It's a stark contrast to me of how differently he puts those kids up on this pedestal, and the only thing that I can think of is to go back to. I think this is why, in a way, the producers brought up in this episode that everyone has to look good for Kody, because in this episode, they're all dressed up looking pretty. The girls all have makeup on Robyn, has makeup on Robyn. I've noticed over the years, she plays with her hair. She's always fixing her hair. She's always focused on, not having her mascara run and looking good. And now we know all of that comes from Kody wanting his wives to look good. I mean, as good as Robyn can look, right, you guys? Bada ching. But everything is about trying to fix the narrative so that Kody can look like the good dad and not look like the scum of the earth. So it's all of this feels like damage control, and it feels weird, and I guess I like the subtle digs the editing is doing to try to contrast the delusions that Kody and Robyn are. There's a part here where they talk about soulmates, and they somehow turn Robyn into a victim. It's insanity. Okay, so what I love about this is that they're pretending like she only said it one time. They're pretending like Kody never called Robyn her soulmate, and he did. Robyn was on a tell all a couple years ago and said that Kody wants to have a soulmate relationship with each of his wives. I mean, the soulmate topic has been a huge conversation for seasons and seasons and seasons. So now to be like I said, it once in season 1, and it was so inappropriate because I didn't know. Come on, Robyn, and you're not the victim. There was so much backlash. Well, Kody, you had a wife, and you're bringing in a woman that's 10 to 12 years younger than you, and you are flaunting her around because she's thin and younger, and you think she's beautiful, and to this day, you still have them all dressed up like they're your dolls, like your daughters are your dolls, like your kids are an extension of who you are. And that's sort of what Christine and everyone was alluding to. It's like I saw a Daily Mail article, and they were like, Kody Brown was like the polygamist Hugh Hefner, Like he wanted his wives to look a certain way. He wanted them to look good for him as sort of like a representation of like his worth, his value. And what I love about the editing now is that right after they try to play the victim, they immediately cut to Janelle and Christine, who completely dismantle this lie. It's pretty obvious that Janelle is so over Kody and Robyn and their delusional lies because she says, Robyn grew up in a polygamous family. She knows that you don't say those kinds of things. And it's true. Robyn's mom, her mom with her dad, her biological father was a first wife. Then Robyn had her dad, her stepdad, and then her mom became the second wife. She grew up in that confine. She grew up in that cult, so she knows the ramifications of using words like that, right? And so she's going back to that old adage of Robyn playing. Pretend like she doesn't understand. Well, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to say that. Come on, Robyn. So Janelle reminding everyone that Robyn's playing dumb and trying to be like the damsel and the innocent one involved. And then Christine's all, yeah, if that's going to happen and over well, and they tried to hide it. And then I think, there's something about the way that they, for so many years, tried to cover for people, right? So they would lie like, oh, they tried to hide it. And then she like catches herself and she goes, but they didn't hide it. So they're still like working through that kind of programming of, I need to protect Kody and Robyn with a cloak of charity, but then reminding them that no, I don't anymore. So they didn't actually hide it. It wasn't just one time, and it was obvious to all of us, these editors this season. It is so subtle, but it is so amazing. And when you now see, okay, they first start the episode with Christine talking about how Kody wants the wives to look perfect. Cut to Kody with his family needing to look perfect. And pretty cut to Kody trying to pretend like he's dad of the year. And then Christine's all talking about how Robyn got all of the nice things. This further shows that Robyn gets all of the nice things. And then Kody and Robyn trying to talk about their perfect love relationship. The editing this season, it's beautiful. This part of the episode, I think unless you're in the world of polygamy, maybe you missed it. But he says that when the women left, he worried that he didn't have the value anymore to her. And it's because the value of Kody is that he had 3 wives, and Robyn could be a god or goddess, a goddess with him in heaven, and they would have their celestial kingdom. And now the kingdom is crushed, and he's not really saying that, right? He's not saying, well, am I still valuable to you? And then there's also this aspect of he has stated, and essentially, he has alluded to the fact that Robyn was after his money. And because on a podcast in 2023, he basically said that every woman sees the husband of their friend and wants to marry that husband because they want that good man. And now he believed Robyn wanted him because he had these other women, and also the value here, obviously, the money. So she wanted him for the stature of being in polygamy. She wanted him for the money. That's what he views her as. So he's saying, I made promises to her that this is what we were going to have, and my value to her was this. That's how he views the women. I offered her this. And he's saying, and now that it's just me and her, I mean, she could take me for all I have. So any woman he looks at as someone that's after his money. So he's so in love with her that now he wonders if she even wants him for him and not his money and the women. And he's starting to realize I basically threw my life away for a freaking gold digger. But then also at the same time, pretending like he and Robyn are soulmates. And then later in the episode, Robyn talks about how she doesn't see that he's lost his value, but that he mistreated her and acted like a butthole. So again, Kody lacks the ability to take accountability for his own behavior, right? So if this is true and Robyn lies about everything, but if Kody is being a jerk and mistreating everyone, which he probably does, I can't imagine he's great to be around, instead of saying, I've been a jerk and totally awful. He blames the ex-wives for taking his confidence, thus making him less valuable and less important and less prestigious, and that's the only reason why Robyn might not like him. Not because he was a jerk and maybe mistreating her. You know what I mean? Either way, his pattern of not taking responsibility continues, whether he's with Robyn or anyone else. And I don't like Robyn, but I would imagine Kody's not nice to deal with. But I also would admit that Robyn would probably be a nightmare to deal with, too. But the shade going back and forth between these two, who are seemingly pretending like they're soulmates. And so in love, the tension here is obvious, because then at one point they talk about Orana bringing home a guy and introducing him to the family to get the approval from the parents or whatever. And he's an easy guy to win over, 'cause he's so nice and he's so amiable and he's just a great happy guy, right? And that he's like, but with Robyn, it might be different. She's the one that's gonna be harder to win over. Like, okay, so in the same episode where he says he loves his wife and he's a fool and he's just so enamored with her and she's just so perfect, he calls her a gold-digging woman that's only after him for his clout and status, and that she's controlling and will make it hard for any guy that enters the family. She will make it difficult for any guy that comes into the family and put them to the test. And not only to the test, but challenge them as well. As he says, he's really nice with this implication that she's not, doesn't this kind of confirm what his children all said, that she interfered in his relationships with the kids, just like she interferes in her kids' lives with their partners. By the way, her daughters are in their 20s. Now, they don't really need their mom involved in their love lives. And I also don't like that Kody and Robyn, after everything that's happened in their family, after the death of Garrison, are using this opportunity to try to rub it in everyone's face that they are a happy, loving family, and so godly with this sort of veiled overlay, that it's because God wasn't involved with everyone else. Not Jew, not them. They have God, not them. Those people are the ones that lost God, not us. And it's their fault because they don't have God. And we're the godly one. It's just this delusions of grandeur. So Kody and Robyn's marriage is just a hot mess. Tell me, what are your thoughts about the editing this season, about the glossing over of Garrison's death, and also about what Kody has to say about his controlling gold-digging wife? Sound off below. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure before you go, give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click the bell so you never miss a video.